But the hard part comes after the sale, when you're trying to blend your existing entity and its culture and its people and its resources with the acquiring company's people and culture and resources. They frequently clash. The neighborhood that I live in, most of the people have sold companies. It's a very entrepreneurial area, and most of the people have sold things and they're retired, they exited out, and they do this typically relatively early. So they're 40 years old, 35 years old, 50 years old, and they play golf for a few years and they travel for a few years, and then they're desperately, horribly bored. And they are just trying to think, what can they do to get back in the game? And I realized that if you structure things the way that I'm talking to you about, you don't ever have to be that person, because you'll never lose your momentum. When they sell their company and they sell with it all of the team and all of the assets and everything else, their momentum is gone from wherever it was to zero. And so to get started again, they either have to buy into a new company or start one from scratch. And momentum's really hard to recapture. So if you can hang on to the platforms that you've got and not lose your momentum, then that's a tremendous advantage. And so in thinking about structuring, just showing you kind of how we structure things. So we have our holding company, and then we have 5 primary business groups. And each business group then has several brands underneath. But because we retain everything in our shared services company and our IP company, we can spin off any one of these things and lose no momentum, because the team is sitting in each of these groups, right? So the team is sitting here in Rival Media, and all of these brands that we've got can be sold. We could sell a major operating unit if somebody wanted to pay a ton of money for it, but more likely they're going to buy these individual businesses. And so we could have one exit at the holding company level, or we could have 5 exits there, or we could have 20 plus exits even in just this one group here. And it's layered to allow us to do that. So setting it up like this allows you to do a deal like the Traffic and Conversion deal. So the Traffic and Conversion Summit deal, we sold to Clarion. The only thing that we sold was the URL, trafficandconversionsummit.com, the trademark, Traffic and Conversion Summit, and the prospect and attendee list and recordings from the prior shows. There was nothing else that was sold. No team members left. Now, what's cool about that, you might say, well, but yeah, wouldn't they want the team members? Interestingly enough, no. And frequently, in the thing that happens after the sale, that's post-integration. That's post-sale integration, they call it. Integration is what nobody talks about. Everybody talks about exits and sales and stuff like that. But the hard part comes after the sale, when you're trying to blend your existing entity and its culture and its people and its resources with the acquiring company's people and culture and resources. They frequently clash, right? So what happens is a lot of the times there's duplication as well, like in accounting and marketing, for example. And so they just end up firing everybody that was bought. Or they'll say, well, pick the top 2 or 3 people and everybody else gets fired. Well, if that happens, then you gave away valuable momentum that you didn't necessarily have to give away. So when we sold Traffic and Conversion Summit, they didn't care. They already were an events company. They had 3,500 employees already. They already ran events. They didn't need people that ran events. But we had a wonderful team headed by Deanna here, who we have 245 people? 245 people that run that one event, and we run about, isn't it like 60 or 70 events between all of them now that we run a year? So if we gave the team away, we would, if our team had all been in TNC, we would have lost them. And we didn't want to lose them. We wanted to keep them because we do other events. So by having the company separated out, like I told you, in just a separate operating unit, and it was only the things that made that company go, they were able to buy just the thing they wanted. Now, if they decided that they had wanted the team, we could have sold the other company, because we have Traffic and Conversion Summit, the event, then we have Digital Marketer, which is a media company that provides the eyeballs that cause people that we can market to get people to attend. We have Boost Events, which is the company that does the logistics. We have a sponsor company that sells sponsorships, and we have War Room Mastermind and other things that are actually profit maximizers that sell, but they're all in separate companies, and they weren't interested in any of those other things, so we didn't have to sell them. So when we sold TNC, we just lost the right to have exclusive control over that asset. We kept 20% because they were funding, they gave us a bunch of money, but they were also going into a bunch of other areas. So we'll be in Amsterdam with TNC in June, and in Singapore with TNC in October, and gradually going to where we have one a month, all funded by our partner, but we keep our 20% no matter what. That's kind of a cool deal for us, right? And now we do events for other companies. We sell sponsorships to other companies. Right? We run logistics for other companies. We have Digital Marketer, so we can start new events with the eyeballs that we have and just say, go to this event. We don't say, don't go to TNC, but we say, we're not marketing TNC anymore because TNC has its own list and its own marketing budget. We're now marketing this event. And so that allows us to keep our momentum. So when you're thinking about your business structure, think about what are the logical units that might be sold. You guys have maybe a data company that's separate from the physical manufacturing, that's separate from a services company, right? You can have different divisions of your company. So that layer of complexity does create additional time when you're exiting. But so here's the deal that we end up with, right? The deal we end up with is they pay for our events team who's not theirs as a contractor as opposed to an employee. So they still have them, but they don't, with the exception of Deanna, who they have double time on, not half time. But with most of our people, it only takes them about half of the time working on the TNC event. So we're able to do other events with the team that we have, which is paid by the buyer. Then we do all of the marketing. We do all of the marketing ourselves through a marketing contract through Digital Marketer. So they're paying us a marketing fee to do it, plus we continue to have access to about 150,000 pounds worth of booth space at the sites, because every year internally we would have Digital Marketer and War Room would buy booths from TNC. We didn't just give them. Every company, every business unit has to earn its own keep, so they pay internally. So we kept the company that had the 5,500 sponsors that we now sell into other events. We kept the media, Digital Marketer, that has all the eyeballs that sell all the tickets. We kept the marketing company, the agency that fills the events, and we kept the two companies that make a ton of profit off the events from selling stuff at the events in their booths, War Room and Digital Marketer, right? We kept all of our people. There are marketing contracts, sponsorship contracts, logistic contracts, but we didn't lose any of it. They got all the benefit that they wanted on an a la carte basis. So they got to go through the line and say, we'd like some of this, but none of that, and some of this, right? And so that structure allows you to do that and keep all the momentum. So if tomorrow they said, we don't want you to do any of that stuff for us anymore, they'd be like, cool.